welcome to everybody joining us from around the world for this exciting masterclass on revolutionizing food education in youth for more sustainable food pathways. I'm delighted to be your facilitator for this session. My name is Jane Badham, and it really is a joy to be with you. Before we get started, I really do want to give a big thank you and a shout out to Dario D'Angelo from the FAO, who has absolutely been behind the setting up of this exciting webinar. So Dario, thank you so much to you and for the team that have put this together. Why am I so excited? Because school food education has to be part of transforming the food system to be more sustainable and contribute towards the sustainable development goals that we are all excited about. This masterclass will, I hope, both educate and inspire all of us. It will give you ideas on how you can play an active role in shaping practices and school feeding environments. Really important as we go forward. So let's not waste any more time and get started by hearing from children around the world and what they have to say about food and their food systems. To the children of the world we go. Isn't it incredible that no matter what language and where in the world, we see children saying they want healthier, more sustainable food environments. And that truly makes me feel excited for the future, because I think it's going to be over to the youth to really push for those changes that they talk about. Accessibility and affordability for healthy diets for all in a sustainable manner. How inspiring a way to begin, no matter what language we speak. So we're now going to hear from the experts at the Food and Agricultural Organization, or FAO, as many of us call it, and UNICEF, who I think needs no introduction, on the exciting new approach that they are suggesting for school food and nutrition education. Let's hear from the experts.
Hi, my name is Melissa.
Hi, and my name is Christina.
We live in Rome, Italy, and we work for the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. We work with governments, other UN agencies like UNICEF, youth, teachers, and parents to make food education in schools a global priority.
We love our work, and we both got interested in food and nutrition when we were teenagers. In my case, I got very interested when I was young. I wanted to eat right, to look good, and to do well at sports. My family ate pretty healthily, but I did not know how to pick healthy options when I ate out with friends. And when I moved out of my parents' house to live on my own, it was challenging to plan and shop for meals.
Well, this is very interesting, Christina. I did not know that. For me, it was a bit different. I'd always loved to eat, and I actually wanted to be a chef. But in high school, I didn't like physical education at all. So they made me take an exam about nutrition, and then I had to learn and recite all of the vitamins and minerals, their functions, and the sources. This was really not fun for me. So imagine my own surprise when I chose to study nutrition after this. But after some years, I really got into food education, and I fell in love with how food can be used to learn about so much more than nutrition, including sustainability, social justice, human behavior, religion, tradition, agriculture, and many others.
Well, actually, it doesn't sound fun at all. And the truth is that being lectured about nutrients and being told what to eat is not very effective. And, of course, it can be boring. You would agree with me that learning good eating is like learning to ride a bike. You need a little theory and lots of practice, such as watching and helping our parents or friends cook.
Yes, definitely. So in this masterclass, what we're focusing on is which parts of what we do, what we know, and what we feel influence our diets. Since what we are eating as a collective has a direct impact on some of the modern day diseases. For example, overweight and obesity in children and adolescents has exploded in the last 30 years. Kids who are overweight or obese are more likely to develop diabetes and other health problems as adults, and sometimes they're even excluded from friendships and bullied by other children. In some countries, kids are so used to processed and packaged foods that they cannot even recognize types of fruits and vegetables. And in others, they don't know where real food comes from. In some countries, up to half of adolescents don't have enough iron in their bodies, and this may result in them feeling tired and not be able to concentrate in school. And the impact of our food practices does not only affect our individual health directly. What we choose, how it is produced and prepared, and what we eat and dispose of also really largely affects the environment.
Nevertheless, the great news is that this generation of youth are very sensitive to food issues. They're leading a global revolution to combat climate change, taking an active part in decision-making at local, national, and global levels. And many are leading by example by choosing diets with low environmental impact. Youth are capable of doing amazing things. And we believe that if all youth and children had access to high quality food education, they could also develop the desire and capacities they need to eat well and even lead a global food revolution. However, from the research we've conducted in countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, we've seen that food education is often not available to all grades. It is based on teaching about food groups and nutrients, and it often does not consider students' real lives and circumstances.
Yes, definitely. But we also found out some characteristics that do make food education engaging, relevant, and that actually makes a difference in food practices. We call this the core principles of successful food education in schools. The first is always ensuring that any curriculum or even any learning opportunity for food is really responding to children and adolescents' needs in terms of their food circumstances and situation. The second is to have food education objectives that will ultimately benefit children's lives in the long term. For instance, mastering skills such as cooking, budgeting for nutritious foods, planning for avoiding food waste, and many others. And really not to memorize what food can provide or what nutrients are good for us. The third principle is to have the students as the owners of their own food learning journeys and choices, even if these are limited. Our fourth principle is simply practice, practice, and practice. We all know that mastering anything requires a lot of practice. It's really no different with food skills. Successful programs are those where children experiment with their diets, with food, and of course, practice. Another principle is that impactful food education encourages students to explore and also be critical about the food that is available around them, and empowers them to advocate for change at household, school, and even national level. It's also about food education being supported by affordable and tasty, nutritious foods. Finally, food education needs involvement of all the people that actually influence and determine what we eat in school and at home, starting from the cooks, teachers, parents, and even the local farmers.
The joint goal of FAO and UNICEF is to make high-quality school food education based on the principles that Melissa just mentioned available to every child and adolescent in the world so that they can become food competent and develop sustainable and healthy eating habits for life. Now, what are we doing about this and how do you youth come in? Our colleague Deepika Sharma from UNICEF will tell you all about it. Over to you, Deepika.
Thanks, colleagues. You rock. Hi, friends. I'm with UNICEF and I'm very passionate about engaging with young people like you. I'm so glad that both FAO and UNICEF are collaborating to put into actions all the 8 principles that Melissa and Christina just talked about. However, we cannot do anything without you. We want to hear you. And for that, we just concluded some interactions and dialogues with around 23,000 young people from 28 countries. And this was done over a period of 7 months. And honestly, this has been the most enriching experience for me. It was interesting to hear what young people say about food, food environments, and food practices. Our findings indicate that children and young people do want to eat nutritious and safe food, but the major barrier is affordability. They say that nutritious food is quite expensive, and also young people said that the decision about what to eat is not with them. It's mostly with people at home. Another interesting finding was that their food choices are also influenced by their peers, and sometimes healthy food may be considered uncool. I remember someone saying during the workshop that some foods are not cool enough and it's embarrassing to be seen with them. Our study also highlights that young people emphasize on food education, which is more practical and skill-based. There is an eagerness to learn about food, what to eat, cook, prepare, and stay healthy. Young people want governments to educate children, communities, teachers, families, farmers, and decision-making people about nutritious and safe foods, food systems, climate change, sustainable development. I'm really happy that the collaboration that we have with UNICEF, between UNICEF and FAO, is responding to young people's call, a call for change. I'm sure that our work in countries with ministries of education, teachers, teachers association, parents association, communities, and above all, young people like you, will pave a way for better food education for all. And I really wish that we could go to a school and see all this, but I think my colleague Yenori from FAO is doing just that. So over to you, Yenori.
Thank you, Deepika. Hi guys, I'm Yenori and I also work with FAO headquarters, and I'm so excited to be part of this revolution to make food education in schools a priority. Right now, I'm in Beleli Education, which is a wonderful school located in Costa Rica. So welcome to paradise. Why a paradise? Well, because Costa Rica and Beleli remind me about the importance of building strong bonds between children, nature, and food. This should be the center of food education, where children can experience the joy of gardening, of cooking, of eating, tasting, and sharing healthy food for the people and for the planet. So this is the perfect place to do the call to action.
I'm Mesha Kenaisa, and it's like the food education is important to eat better.
Today we are joining forces with this school community, and we urge you to become advocates of this type of food education. food education in schools can really be part of food system transformation and sustainable development. But to truly build an effective model, we are also calling on governments to create the necessary avenues, including policies and investments to advance this agenda. Now the highlight of this video. I would like to introduce the generation that with your support will be the ones that will make the great changes in food education. Hello guys! Hi. Thank you, Lupe, and thank you everybody for letting us be in your class. And I know, Lupe, that you and your students would like to say something to all of us.
Yes, thank you very much for thinking about us. Here in Mileli, we actually believe that education has to be different, and it all starts with them. And we believe that spending time in nature, learning about how trees grow, what they can give us, the food that we can get from them, it will definitely help us when these kids grow up and they have to make their own decisions about it.
Perfect, because that's what we want. Kids that are empowered and that they can make healthy choices for the people and for the planet. And how about you? What would you like to say?
I want more time to enjoy nature.
You like more nature. And Marisa, how about you?
I want to have experts in my class so I can learn more about nature and food.
Wow, that's excellent. Experts, you're invited to come here. And how about you?
I want to my classes of food are fun.
Okay, that's perfect. That's what we all want. We want to have fun. So just to finalize, I want to say that the change starts right here, right now. It starts with you. It starts with them, with me, with all together. So at the end of the day, hashtag food education in schools for all children in the world.
I was excited before we even got to those discussions. And you know what, folks? Just like our speakers, I didn't like exercise at all at school, but I really loved learning about those vitamins and minerals. And I just loved the example of riding a bike, how you have to practice and practice. But I also want to say, every now and then, you have to be prepared to fall off the bike. So sometimes we don't get all our eating right, but the key thing is to get back on that bicycle and ride again. Food and nature come together, and the future has to be how we bring them together. And the future starts now. And my joy is that all of us together, especially the children, can lead the change and demand the change. And I'm so excited about young people being engaged. So I've got a fabulous young person that I want to introduce you to now. And his name is Webster Makombe. Webster comes from Zimbabwe. He's 21 years old, so to me that's still very young. And he's a student at the University of Zimbabwe. He's a youth leader with the Scaling Up Nutrition movement and a core group member at Act for Change. And now you see Webster on your screen. Webster, I am so delighted that you are with us. And what I'm even more delighted about is I believe we're going on a world trip. So I've got my air tickets here with me, and I've put my seatbelt on, and I'm ready to go. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you so much for introducing me. Hi guys, if you've heard, my name is Webster Ishenapa Makombe, and I'm a youth advocate here in Zimbabwe, and I focus on advocating for nutrition. Well, I started my advocacy journey back when I was in high school, and I was with the junior parliament here in Zimbabwe. Well, part of my voice, it's spring here, the jacarandas are blooming, and I have kind of like an allergy, so just part of my voice, please. So I started my advocacy journey after engaging with the Scaling Up Nutrition movement here in Zimbabwe as a youth advocate, and I was just telling fellow young people about the importance of nutrition and the importance of school-based school-based education, which is one of the reasons why I'm here today. Because from the time that I was 17, when I was taught about the importance of school-based food and nutrition education, I put it across to myself that this is something that I'm going to do, and this is the work that I'm going to do up until now. And my only regret then was then I got to know of it at the age of 17. So I made sure that I was going to make sure that every other child got to know of school-based nutrition below the age of 17, not as late as I did. So right now I'm going to show you some of the people that are doing some incredible work like the one that I am, and trying to make sure that young people from all around the world do not get to know about food and nutrition at a later age, but earlier on in their lives through school-based education and just having nutritious foods and diet in their schools. So to start with this trip, we shall start in the Dominican Republic with Miss Madame Guadalupe Valdez. She's a parliamentarian at the and an FAO Hunger Special Ambassador for Latin America and the Caribbean. Her experience in school food and nutrition based education mainly focuses on capacity needs assessment, and the SFN principles that she works in when she engages in her work are need-based learning and involvement of all influential actors. All these which I think are very important to make sure that we get to have enough school-based education in our schools. So we shall visit her right away in the Dominican Republic. Please show the video.
Guadalupe Valdés, embajadora especial de buena voluntad Hambre Cero para América Latina y el Caribe de la FAO. Les invito a viajar a República Dominicana, donde hemos construido una hoja de ruta en educación alimentaria y nutricional con la participación de los actores clave, porque estos son fundamentales en la formulación de políticas, en la toma de decisiones, los padres, las madres, técnicos, docentes, educadores y fundamentalmente los niños y las niñas, jóvenes y adolescentes, que son sobre los cuales debe desarrollarse una educación alimentaria y nutricional para que puedan asumir plenamente el conocimiento y ser hombres y mujeres de bien cuando terminen su educación escolar. Este desarrollo de capacidades se basa en mapear los actores. ¿Cuáles son esos actores claves? En hacer levantamiento de información, ponerla a disposición de los diferentes actores y hacer procesos participativos. Esto nos garantiza que la formulación de políticas públicas para garantizar educación alimentaria y nutricional a todos los niveles sea un éxito. Construyámosla juntos y trabajemos para lograr un planeta en el cual la alimentación sea un derecho.
Right, there we have it. And I think you've heard from her in the Dominican Republic, as she was talking about, the importance of having all the people coming together. And I also think you saw her mention frontline workers, especially now in the context of COVID-19. These are some of the players that we didn't have before in our fight towards zero hunger through school-based education. But these are now some of the things that have come allied to us due to the pandemic. Now, so as you have seen, FAO and UNICEF are trying to bring together this new initiative of school-based food and nutrition education. And although it mainly focuses on the theoretical part, but the way we are trying to put it together and bring it on, we want to revolutionize food education in youth for more sustainable pathways. And one of the things to do so is to bring in other out of school facts like our food culture and the habits of how we live outside school. So from then on, we shall move on to the UK, whereby we shall see a head teacher. Or when I was in school, I was always afraid of the head teacher. It wasn't something nice to be called to the principal's office. So now we shall hear from our next speaker, Dr. Jason O'Rourke is a head teacher at Washington Academy, and he has an experience in Taste Aid program. Some of the principles that they focus on Principle 2, which are action aims, Principle 4, which is experience based in real life practice, and Experience 5, which is observation and discussion. So now we shall hear him talk as we move on to the video.
My name is Jason O'Rourke, and I'm the head teacher of Washington Academy, which is a primary school in the United Kingdom. Here at the school, we pride ourselves on not just providing an academic education, but also in educating our children about the pleasures and benefits of food and how this can support children's physical and mental health and well-being. One of the learning approaches we use is sensory food education, Taste Ed, which is directly linked to the UN school-based food and nutrition core principles of experiences based on real-life practices and children observing and discussing their own food preferences.
I think this one's the nicest.
Taste Ed, which is based on the SAPRA method, which has been tried and tested for decades in countries such as Sweden, Finland, Japan and Norway, is aimed at giving children positive exposure to a wide range of vegetables and fruits, and with equipping them with the skills they need to learn to try new foods. It is food education pared down to its simplest form, but the impact on the way children relate to food can be huge. Just as children are taught how to read and write, they need to learn the food literacy that will help them become confident, healthy eaters. Many children cannot recognise basic vegetables. Taste Ed offers fun lessons in eating to enable children to explore fresh produce using all their senses. It is a simple programme of lesson plans and PowerPoints and other activities that involve bringing vegetables and fruits into the classroom and allowing children to interact with them using all 5 senses. It is experience-based learning about food.
This looks like a mini tree.
Evidence suggests that children learn best about food by being given the chance to touch it, smell it, look at it, listen to it and finally taste it. If nutrition education is to affect real change, it has to work at the level of preference. Very often, when a child says they don't like something, they have in fact never tried it. The effectiveness of our lessons is above all about giving children repeated, direct sensory knowledge of fruit and vegetables in a positive atmosphere.
Loud. Sour. It's a bit sweet. It's really crunchy.
The joy of teaching Taste Ed is in witnessing children surprising themselves, and maybe their teacher as well, by enjoying foods they have never tried before.
The colour reminds me of some kind of setting. Pumpkin reminds me of autumn because Halloween's in autumn. Reminds me of my brother stomping up the stairs. It's yummy too.
Wow, that was awesome. I think we've all heard from the head teacher, Jason O'Rourke in the UK. He was talking about the importance of experiencing food. That's one of the things that I grasped from this. He talked about the pleasures and benefits of food and getting to experience food and food literacy, which I think these are some of the things that children need to be taught at a very young age, especially in school settings where there might be a lot of influences and a lot of diversities, but these children come from different households. So bring all these children together and let them experience food hands-on and be able to say, I eat this kind of food, I don't eat this kind of food, is very fulfilling and nice to see. Now we move on to our next country, which is Sri Lanka. Right. Now, our speaker from Sri Lanka is Kapishana, a fellow youth. She's 17 years old and one of the Girl Guides with the World Association of Girl Guides. And the experience comes from the girl-powered nutrition school canteen and the spirit and the principles that her work focuses on action, aim, experience-based, real-life practices, observation and discussion. And I really I'm really looking forward to her video, because I know a lot of girl guys that we work with as youth advocates for nutrition. So now she head on to Kabishana's video and hear what she has to say.
Hello everyone, I'm Kabishana, 17, a student of the Anekotai Roman Catholic Tamil Sri Lanka, and a Girl Guide member of the Sri Lanka Girl Guides Association. In 2020, we had a chance to roll out a nutrition batch program called Girl Powered Nutrition. Upon having completed the requirements, we had the GPN batches awarded. One day in the guides meeting, our guide leader motivated us to think of something sustainably to bring the benefits of nutrition to the children and the community. As a result, we, the guides, had exchange of ideas and finally agreed to establish a canteen, as there was not one in our school. Most of my school children, economically poor, attend school daily without having proper breakfast and reach home late after school, missing their lunch too. There are also school children who need to stay after school for exam preparation, additional classes and sport practices. We know that this is not good for the health of the adolescents. Therefore, we wanted to address this issue in practical way by providing tasty, nutritious and less expensive food to all children. Impressed with this idea, our school principal, guide leader and teachers came forward supporting and coaching us of running the canteen. Some parents also extended their support. Application to SRGGA seeking a grant for a community action fund also was accepted. Finally, we formed ourselves into 5 groups to manage the canteen, each group per day in a week, with a special menu that is nutritious, cheap and easy to cook. We also set the following criteria for the meal preparation and managing the canteen, such as food should be prepared using less expensive, nutritionally rich and locally available resources. Usage of sugar, salt and oil should be very less or not used. All children and teachers should be able to access the food. Price should be affordable and the profit should go to the school Girl Guide Fund. Once the operation started, children started enjoying a very healthy, tasty and nutritious midday meal. We also taught them hand washing and cleanliness. We followed the concept of rainbow plate, making sure all food groups are included in the meal we prepared every day. We had a lot of fruits and greeny leafy vegetables in the menu. With few days of operation, we noticed how beneficial and sustainable this idea was. We were very happy to see that too many poor children who missed their breakfast previously now had a chance to have a nutritious midday meal. We also noticed that due to this opportunity, number of children staying after school also got increased. In a way, working parents also were relieved that their children had access to tasty and nutritious food at an affordable price. Finally, our sincere thanks to the SRGGA, VAX and the Nutrition International for giving us this opportunity.
Oh, there you have it. That was Kabishana from Sri Lanka talking about girl-powered nutrition and the importance of just girls getting together and choosing the kind of foods they eat and how they go about it. This actually reminds me of a statement that was said by the former president of Malawi, Madam Joyce Banda, when she was talking of experience as a young girl. And they're saying, especially like in the third world countries, girls tend to eat least and last. And so if we get to then see such initiatives, which are considerate of the girl child, to understand that sometimes they leave home without eating, and even after school, they didn't get home without eating, and have such initiatives, it really helps us and prepares us tomorrow as the youth. As I also believe that healthy adolescence to girls, especially the adolescent girl child, if she's healthy today to then be able to give birth to healthier babies tomorrow, and we break the cycle of malnutrition and food poverty that we currently have now. Now we move on to our next speaker, who's from the country of Barbados, Pierre Cook Jr. Now, Pierre Cook Jr. is a technical advisor of the Health Caribbean Coalition and Prime Minister of the Barbados National Youth Parliament. His experience is based in, he has his experience from the Caribbean Coalition, and the principles that govern his work are purposeful interactions with food environments and family and community support. We shall hear him speak now.
Hi, my name is Pierre Cook Jr. I'm Technical Advisor to the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, Prime Minister of Barbados' National Youth Parliament, and the President of the University of the West Indies Law Society at the Cave Hill campus. It is indeed my pleasure to speak to you for a few brief moments on a matter that has been pressing and engaging for young persons around the world, necessarily their food environment. Through my work with the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, we've been able to see and hear from young persons themselves exactly what is concerning about the food environments they're exposed to. And what we understand is that they want better. We need to appreciate that the environments that our children grow up in influence their health outcomes. Essentially, they need not to have to battle predatory marketing in the school environments where they're supposed to be learning. Through the Healthy Caribbean Coalition and through our understandings of healthy systems, an understanding of what is in the best interest of the child, we've been able to advocate for call to actions by governments and civil society organizations to represent and protect our children. In the same space of having a conversation about children and their rights and their health, we need to understand that people, parents, guardians, us, we have a responsibility to protect the future of our children. We have a responsibility to ensure that they have something to look forward to, and it starts with creating a supportive and enabling framework. We often say it takes a village. It also takes a supportive environment to ensure that children are protected and they have the best quality of health.
Well, there you have it. That was Pierre Cook Jr. talking about his experience in the Barbados. I actually remember him because we actually had an event earlier on this year as young people from Africa and the diaspora, and we're just talking about about our countries. And I remember him. It was an Every Miku Foundation event, and I remember him talking and showing off some of the most exquisite cuisine from the Barbados. And to hear him today continue to talk about how the food environment impacts a child's growth and their health as an outcome, I still find it very inspiring, because he has been talking about these things for the longest time. And as a young person like myself, we now expect to see change. And with the help of FAO and UNICEF through school-based food and nutrition education, we'll be able to change some of the status quo that are there now and some of the food systems that are there now for the better. Now, last but not least, we'll move on to the country of Ghana, where we shall see Madam Essie Afamil, and she is the Director of Nutrition of the Ghana Health Service, and her experience has been in the national implementation of the school-age nutrition program. And this principle that she focuses on is principle 1, which focuses on need-based learning. So now we shall hear Madam Essie Amafeo talk about her experiences in Ghana. We shall hear you speak now.
My name is Essie Foriwa Amuafo, Director of Nutrition Ghana Health Service. I'd like to share with you the Ghana country experience in the nationwide implementation of the School Age Nutrition Program. The School Age Nutrition Program was introduced in the year 2019 to improve school food environment, promote healthy nutrition habits, hygiene and sanitation, as well as physical activity among school-age children and adolescents. To create awareness and get buy-in, a range of key stakeholders were actively engaged, including the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, the Ghana Education Service, UNICEF, WHO, and other development partners, religious and traditional leaders, school health education program coordinators, and health workers. Others were head teachers, school teachers, caterers, and food vendors, parents, adolescents, and school children. A multi-sectoral task team oversees planning and develops guidelines for the rollout of the program, as well as conduct assessment, monitoring, reporting, and capacity development of service providers at school level. We have seen some early wins of the program, and this includes increased knowledge on healthy foods and snacks among school-age children and adolescents. Parents are now providing fruits and eggs to their children for celebration of fruit and egg days. Food vendors now include fruits and vegetables in meals sold to school children. Some schools are banning sales of fizzy drinks and unhealthy foods. Some children have become agents of change in their communities through educating their peers and parents on health and nutrition topics such as optimal infant and young child feeding practices, COVID-19 prevention, including proper hand washing, and anemia prevention, among others. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Essie. And I think one of the most aspiring things that I had from when she was talking was when she first mentioned the issue of physical activities. Now, in schools, the importance of school-based food and nutrition education does not only influence on the issue of learning and the theoretical aspect in class as well, but also it has an influence on the outdoor activities and the sports that children do. I think, like, if you read an article that I did with Sophie Hilito sometime last year, I also spoke about this issue where I was saying, when I was in primary school and then I was from a rural-based community, and then we played rugby with kids from the affluent Harare side communities. They'll be huger and much bigger than us because they got to eat well and, and they had fruits and stuff. But then from children from the communities like mine, we always had carbohydrates all the time, maybe in the morning, afternoon. So school-based nutrition education has influence in and out of the classroom. And on the out of the classroom aspect as well, even now she spoke about how the vendors are now selling fruits and vegetables. Those are some of the wins that you get if you teach the children, the kind of food they want. So even if you offer a child a sweet, you say, no, I would want an apple. Yeah, so that was it. I'm definitely exhausted from traveling to 5 countries in this world. And now I'll give the floor to Jane. And I hope you enjoyed the flight.
I've got lots of W's that match with your name. Wow, what a wonderful whirlwind trip. And in those visits to those 5 countries, I just learned so much. And the word that kept coming to my mind on all of them was hands-on. Yes. In the Dominican Republic, we heard it was hands-on with a roadmap for all. In the UK, we heard it was hands-on with learning, growing, and tasting. And Jason, I saw your comment in the chat box, and I can assure you that would have been my favorite class as well. In Sri Lanka, we heard in hands-on by doing. Wasn't it fabulous, Webster, to see the Girl Guides stepping in to address a problem? And through that, they got buy-in of the adults to make it more sustainable. Hands-on doing. And then when we went to Barbados, I felt we really got the idea about hands-on leadership through engagement with the youth and really protecting and supporting children's health. And finally, we went to Ghana and to my friend Essie, and there we really saw hands-on through government programs that weren't just static programs, but not only created awareness, but also addressed some of the availability of certain foods. So your point is if we all work together, we can really have a win-win. So Webster, that whirlwind trip, phew, I'm exhausted, but I'm just ready to go to the next step.
Yeah.
So thanks for taking us through that, Webster, and continued strength to you as an advocate and activist in the work that you're doing to improve nutrition for youngsters and school food and nutrition education. Thanks, Webster, for having been with us.
Okay, sure. Thank
If
you.
Webster wasn't inspiring enough, I've got another person who will keep you inspired joining us now. And I'm so glad to also have Sophie Healy-Thau with us today. And it's really lovely to see you again, Sophie. There you are, popping up on the screen. Sophie is a youth activist promoting food security and gender equality, things close to my heart. But Sophie also has a number of roles that she plays. She's a lead group member of the Sun Movement. She's on the board of Action Aid in the UK. She's co-chair of the UN Food Systems Summit Liaison Group. And in amongst all that, Sophie still fits in her studies in international development. So Sophie, I know you have more energy than I can ever imagine with all the things you fit in. But your energy, when I've ever been with you, is always infectious. And so I'm excited to have you lead our next and very important session, where we need the active engagement of everybody on this webinar. And in many low and middle income countries, the reality is the school food and nutrition education is of a poor quality. But if we all act together, we can act for change. And Sophie, I know that you're going to share with us how and really get us going on doing that activation. There you go, Sophie, the floor is yours.
Wow, thank you so much, Jane. And thank you, Webster, for bringing us right across the globe. What I'm going to talk to you about right now is the campaign Act for Food, Act for Change. As some of you probably know, this year is the year for food system transformation. It's the year young people are standing together for change, not only in food, but in climate action, in human rights and equality. We need to stand together. And as we've heard over the past while, we've heard from older people and younger people standing together for this change. Act for Food, Act for Change came from this energy, this need, this want for change right across the globe. Food system transformation, ensuring that young people have access to proper education on food isn't just an issue for the global South, it's also an issue for the global North. It's a worldwide issue and something that we need to stand together. Right now in Ireland, in the university I attended, students are going hungry. They've had to go out and step out of their studies because they just cannot afford food. So this is an issue for everybody right across the globe. Act for Food, Act for Change is made up of over 30 young people from right across the globe who came together to write a pledge to galvanize food system transformation, not just for young people, but for allies of youth as well. And you can take this pledge today. Right now, we have over 100,000 pledges from young people and allies of youth from right across the globe. And this is incredible. But when you think of the amount of young people that are in the world right now, we make up over 50% of the youth population. So we need more pledges. We need to stand together and we need to act. And Act for Food, Act for Change goes further than just a pledge. And we have what we call actions for change. And these were done through a really huge consultation progress that brought in young people's opinions from right across the globe. And we asked these young people, if you had a decision maker standing right in front of you, what would you ask them to change? And equally important, what can you commit to change? What can you do? So right now we have 17 actions for change that incorporate so many different aspects of food system and linking into culture and diversity. And we actually have one right now on the topic that we're currently discussing. Educate everyone about food and its impact on our planet and our health. So right now, once you pledge, you can also vote on your actions for change. And as Act for Food, Act for Change, along with Webster, my colleague in Act for Food, Act for Change, we're bringing global youth priorities, these actions for change you at home have voted on, to COP26. We just brought them to pre-COP in Milan. We're going to bring them to Nutrition for Growth at the end of the year. We're bringing it to decision makers, and we're asking decision makers, are you standing with us or are you standing against us? Because we need to work, and we need to work fast to ensure a healthy planet and a healthy population for the future. So I invite you to go and vote and to pledge and stand together with us and become members of Act for Food, Act for Change, so that we can create a world that is much better than the world we're currently living in. Thank you so much, Jane. Back to you.
And thank you, Sophie, for always being there with your dynamism and your energy, and for encouraging us that we can do it together. And what's really exciting now is you'll see there's a jam board up. There's a link in the chat box. Come on, everyone. Let's go and click on that link. If Sophie, Webster, and those wonderful people that we visited all around the world haven't infused you to make a commitment and to say what kind of action you can call for, but also what action you can do. We can't always, as Sophie said, expect others to do it. We need to say, what action can I do? So I trust you've clicked on that link in our chat box, and up will come the jam box. And I really want to see all the wonderful people that are on this call with us putting together a commitment for their own action. Perhaps something that you can do in the next month, or the next 6 months, or the next year. Or perhaps something that you can start asking a call for action to headmasters and head teachers and to politicians and to your local councillor. Let's really start jamming on the board with all sorts of wonderful ideas. What can you suggest? Go for it and let's see what you can do. So let's have you looking at the jam board. I'm wanting to start seeing some things pop up on the jam board for everybody. It would be really good to start seeing some of those commitment and actions that you're feeling inspired to. Look at that, we've already got our first one up. Wonderful. We have someone who's committing to advocating for engaging. And that's important. It mustn't be boring. I was so excited about that example we saw in the UK. Engaging in useful food education with your fellow colleagues. Fantastic. It's so wonderful to see that commitment and to really share the feasible ideas. And it's wonderful because you've seen how many of these ideas we saw from our 5 countries around the world were real actions. I love to see what I'm seeing. I see someone who says we've got to stand together for intergenerational change. Absolutely. It doesn't matter what age you are. We're being called, and Sophie was clear with that, to act together. Yes, the youth need to take the lead in driving this, but we can all be together. I love this other one that I'm seeing here, of someone who's going to start exploring the possibilities for these kind of actions in schools in their neighborhood. The multiplier effect, that's what it's really, really about, is if we make it happen in one school, we see it grow and expand. And the Sri Lanka example was exactly that. And I love that someone else is going to pledge and vote on Act for Food and Act for Change. If Sophie was on camera, I can see she would be saying, yay. We've got another person who's going to commit to asking and supporting their child's school to include food education in the curriculum. Here again, we said we need everybody. This is not only the children, this is not only the teachers, this is the parents, this is the community, this is the advocates and the activists working together and putting that pressure on. Perhaps you will really be able to start a petition with other parents in the school so that we go towards that, getting the kind of change we want. I see another person who really wants to start talking more about the impact on food and the environment, social justice with your friends. I know it's so important that we do speak out. And you know what I've learned over the years, the more I speak to my friends about the work that I do, they really do become excited about it. And we often think, I don't want to bore anybody with my work and my stories. But when you're involved in this field, I promise you, people are excited when they hear you talk. And I really believe you can turn them into advocates. I've seen it happen in my life. Look at these. We've got so many more coming on. Keep going, folks. I want to see this Jamboard just filled. We've only got a few minutes left. But I love this one. I commit to reach the head, the heart, and the hands of stakeholders, be it government or teachers or children or families, to ensure effective and fun. We keep seeing that fun has to be a part of it. We can't have school syllabi and curriculum that are boring like they were in my days. We've got to really get that hands-on fun and make sure it's integrated into schools. I love it. I see another one. We've got someone who's committing to volunteering, to sharing their stories. Isn't this just so exciting? I commit to share widely this wonderful masterclass, especially with the school communities. And that's going to be great because it's recorded, so sharing it, you'll be able to do. And that's really wonderful. I love seeing the commitments. I'm going to have to stop soon because the clock is ticking. But isn't it wonderful to see commitments of people say, I'm going to talk about this through social media. And if you're an influencer, that's really important to talk about it on social media, to share it widely, to find all those platforms. It can be the school, it can be the community, it can be your church, it can be a youth group, it can be, as we said, your family and your friends. I'm just seeing so many exciting, wonderful commitments here. So keep on writing them because we'll save them all. But we sadly have come towards the end of our time. But the Jamboard's got to remain open. So keep free and keep adding and keep sharing to it. But as we come to the close, I just want to say how much I, as an older person, have enjoyed being part of this masterclass with these inspiring youngsters who just make me feel young at heart again, re-energize me that no matter how old we are, we too can step up and make a difference. I'm excited to see the changes happening and the desire of the young to really act for change and act for food. We've had enough of the words. And so now the actions are absolutely everything if we are going to ensure a better world that improves the lives of young people today and into the future in a sustainable way. And together, we absolutely can do it. I think of the words of Helen Keller, who said, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. So I'm beginning to see some of the cameras on from our panelists and our team. So I want you to put all of those that can have their cameras on. Let's put them on. There you are, lovely to Sophie, Melissa, Yenery, Dario, Davide, this amazing team behind the scenes that has said, let's come together to act for food and act for change. And please remember, when we close this webinar, we don't just say that was a nice webinar. We need to go out and actually do. So thanks for being with us, and stay safe, everybody. It's been a joy having you with us. Goodbye.